Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com. Today's film tells you all about growing runner beans. If you're not subscribed to us at Learn How to Garden, click this link, pop in your email address. You'll get a much longer, much more in-depth film about growing runner beans on the website. You get to find out about the gardening club. What is this unique thing that we are doing at Learn How to Garden? It also means that you get the free subscribers newsletter, and we can keep you up to date with everything we're doing in this exciting new year. Runner beans are probably one of the most popular summer vegetables that we grow here in the UK. And what's interesting is that tends to be very much the UK. We eat them as green beans. We pick them quite young, we cut them and eat them. But for most of the people who grow them, they grow them for the beans inside. So we're quite unusual in why we're growing them. But they originate in Central America. And what that tells you is that they are one of those plants that requires lots of heat, much more heat than you think. Therefore, I would always say never sow your runner beans before mid-May, and you can sow them all the way through to sort of mid to late June, and you'll still get a fantastic crop. Depending on your variety of runner bean, you'll find they're quite large seeds. They tend to be a purpley lilac colour with small dark splotches on, but they can be white. There are some very rare ones that are white. Easy to handle. You can theoretically plant them straight into the ground. They'll germinate at as low as 10 degrees, but you get much better germination between 18 and 30 degrees, so much better to germinate them inside. Also, by germinating inside, you actually stop attack from mice. Mice love these beans and they will take them. So I would always advise you to start off your beans inside. It also means that we allow the soil another month to get as warm as possible. We have two choices. We can use just toilet rolls, or we can use these, which are root trainers. Root trainers are really good because they come flat packed. You close them up and you've got these wonderful little modules. And the modules will give you brilliantly strong root systems. And then when we come to plant them out, we can just open them up, slide out the runner beans. I've got broad beans growing here, which is why I'm talking about it. Slide out the runner beans and plant them out come mid-June. So it's a matter of closing them up and then using a good multi-purpose compost. What's interesting about runners is that in a lot of the world they were grown primarily as an actual flower. They were grown in the flower garden for their flowers. They're beautiful, predominantly red flowers. You can get white flowered varieties and you can get a bicoloured red and white variety. And in their native habitat, they are one of the really popular pollen sources or food sources for hummingbirds. Once you've filled your root trainers, it's a matter of taking the bean, push them in so they're about 1 knuckle deep. I'm going to pop these onto a heat mat, or you could use a windowsill to keep them at about 18 to 20 degrees. Now I would expect over 80% germination with fresh beans. When it comes to growing beans, some people do have a problem with the flowers setting beans, and they do tend to set much better with slightly alkaline soil. So what I would say is, where are you going to grow your beans? Because they like a lot of manure, which is acidic. Before you plant your beans, get some calcified seaweed. Work a couple of good handfuls of calcified seaweed into the bean bed, and that will give you much better bean set or flower set. Once they're sown, water them well onto a heat mat, if you've got one, into a propagator about 20 degrees. The minute they germinate, get them into a cold frame so they can start to acclimatise, but try and keep the bottom at about 15 degrees so they're nice and warm, so they can grow really well. They're quite interesting beans in the way that they actually germinate, and I'll put some pictures up of these ones here. This is a lima bean, a very, very rare lima bean from Burma that I'm growing. But it does show you how, as the bean splits, the root goes down and the actual leaves start to emerge from the top. It's a brilliant example of it. I've already said that in a lot of the world, runner beans were grown for their flowers. So if you are pushed for space, it's a perfect reason to grow them in your flower bed. You can actually put a nice wigwam up and you could grow runners with some sweet peas in them, which is what I've done before. And you'd be amazed. People don't actually think that you are growing an edible crop because the flowers are so beautiful. So that's runner beans. Pick them young and just slice them up, and they are really, really tasty. Or let them get larger and use the beans themselves. Thanks a lot for watching.